Hi everyone. Apologies for the issues with this webinar this morning when we tried to run it. Unfortunately, we were rejected from the software platform that we use. Apologies for that. So we're going to record the webinar now, and I'm going to send it to everybody who was registered to attend this morning's webinar. The title of the webinar is Looking After Your Physical Wellbeing with Care First Lifestyle. My name's Stefan, and I work at Care First. The reason we have decided to do a webinar on ways of looking after your physical well-being is because for many people, the way that you might normally attend to your physical well-being has likely changed as a result of the coronavirus situation. So it might be that you ordinarily would go to the gym, or it could be that you're quite often active in your everyday life, from walking to work or walking to friends' houses, whatever you might be outside quite a lot, and as a result of that, doing a fair bit of exercise in your day to day. If that's changed and you're still looking at ways to keep fit, then hopefully this webinar will be fantastic for you. If you're a member of a gym, you may find that if your gym shut, that if they've got any social media platforms or if they've got any way of communicating out to you, it could be that they send monthly emails. It may be that your gym is still running classes on digital platforms through the current coronavirus period. So my gym and a few other gyms that friends of mine are members of are running a calendar of events. It could be high intensity interval training, it could be there's kettlebell classes, spin classes, whatever it may be, things that you can get involved with from the comfort of your own home. And importantly, with these exercise videos, they typically don't require any specialist equipment, or some of them might require that you have a bicycle or something similar to a bicycle, an exercise bike. But a lot of them are things that you can do just in terms of bodyweight exercises. If you're not a member of a gym, and lots of people aren't, or you might have found that you are a member of a gym and you could never get to one, if you go on YouTube, there's lots of videos as well on there that footballers have put together through the current period. It could be their social media platform, their social media influencers like Joe Wicks. He's got lots of content on Instagram, so he's doing E with Joe at 9 a.m. most days. Lots of videos that you can join that don't require specialist equipment if you still want to be involved in almost a group activity. So there's lots of discussion and ways of getting involved in social media along lots of these videos. Also remember that at the moment, the current guidance still permits for one form of exercise per day outside of the house. It does need to be alone or with other members of your own household. It can't be with friends, it can't be with people that you don't live with. And it's recommended to keep this to less than an hour and stay local as well. So ideally, don't drive to any parks or don't drive somewhere quite far away to go for a walk. Stay local. If you can jog around your block, or if there is a local green near you that's quiet, it might be a good idea to go there and have a walk, or if your health permits, go for a jog or cycle, whatever it may be, just to make sure that you can get some exercise each day. If you look into the research behind exercise and its links to helping people cope with the symptoms of anxiety, it's very well established that regular exercise is very helpful in helping people to maintain their mental health as well as their physical well-being. Lots of people find exercise, conventional forms of exercise, very painful. So I'm somebody who used to be very, very active, and I needed to have an operation on my knee. So for me, it's not really possible for me to go running particularly regularly. It's not possible for me to get involved in lots of the high impact or high intensity interval training that can be quite taxing on your knees if you're doing things like burpees. So it's about finding something that works for you. If you've got a health condition, or if you've got arthritis or anything like that, it's just about finding a form of exercise that doesn't exacerbate the conditions that you might have. And this can be things like finding exercises that work in a way that works for you. So it could be that you used to run regularly, and because of pain in your knees, it might be that you cycle more frequently now if you've got a bike. It could be that cycling is quite stressful on your lower back. It could be that you find that yoga or stretching exercises, things like exercise mats are better for you. And it's really just about modifying your exercise routine so that you find something that doesn't cause you undue pain when you're exercising. Something that I'm seeing a lot of online at the moment is people talking about snacking constantly throughout the day um, as a result of working from home. So lots and lots of people are now working from home, and other people who might not be in the such a fortunate position to still have a job at the moment will still find themselves indoors quite a lot. So this will apply to those people as well. But you might find yourself eating more frequently at times you wouldn't typically eat when you're in a conventional workplace. So if you work in an office, you might find that you're pretty good at eating your lunch during your lunch break between 12 and 2 or whatever it may be. And outside of that, you might have a biscuit with a cup of tea. Um, Lots of people now are saying that they're working either in the kitchen or in one of their living rooms, and as a result of that, they find themselves popping into the kitchen quite a few times a day and eating things they wouldn't usually be eating. As a result, their diet's not what it normally would be. What you might find helpful in this particular situation then is to almost allocate yourself a breakfast, lunch, and dinner time throughout the day, and try as best as possible to adhere to only eating between those times. When you are around food all day, it's a real temptation to eat outside of those times. But if you think to yourself, if you were in the office, would you be thinking to yourself about having a sandwich, between breakfast and lunch, or having whatever it might be between lunch and dinner? You possibly wouldn't, because you'd have things filling your day. You wouldn't actually have that food physically around you. So if you can, do what you can do to avoid eating outside of your conventional or your normal eating times. I just want to come on to have a look at some of the content that's on our lifestyle site that can support people with staying active and staying healthy. Things ranging from getting back into exercising regularly if you've not done so for a period of time, or if you're thinking about joining a gym but you're not sure of the best way to do so, or the things you might need to consider when selecting a gym. There's lots of content on our lifestyle site for you to have a look at. So just going to click through from this Care First Lifestyle link today. And some of the organizations that you guys work for who are watching the webinar today may have a different URL. So I'm going to carefirst-lifestyle.co.uk in this instance. Your organization will have a particular username and a particular password for you to log into the site, and it's different for each organization. So in this instance, I'm going to use a particular password that would need to speak to HR to access one that's relevant to you. When you log in, you'll see a landing page that looks something like this. I just want to point out to you at this time that we've got COVID-19 or coronavirus section on our website that's updated each day with new articles and webinars also. If I go to the health section, I get a drop down come up, and then within that there's a stress section, there's content around nutrition and diet, which again in this particular case is relevant. So there's lots of information there on safe snacking, for example, easy exercises, healthy eating, and your 5 a day as well. So lots of content that you can have a look at, but I want to pay particular attention in this instance to fitness. So I mentioned earlier on about stretching and exercises. Well, there's content here around yoga. So is yoga a proper workout? Information on getting fit for free. So it could be that you don't have the means to pay for a gym membership, and if your gym's anything like mine, or if you've thought about joining one, it seems to get more and more expensive each month it goes by. It could be that you're looking for ways to get fit or keep fit without that monthly financial commitment to doing so. So there's lots of content around there. I also mentioned that there is information on the website around choosing a gym. Again, I wish that I'd accessed this site when I signed up to my 15, 16 year, it would seem, initial subscription to my membership at my gym. It'll probably save me a lot of money. And there's also other bits about warming up effectively and things that you can do to avoid getting injured. And again, if, for example, running is not your thing, and I've got colleagues who prefer swimming, there's lots of information on swimming tips and things like that. So it's quite varied in terms of the content that we have on the site. We also update the content regularly as well. So if there are particular nationwide campaigns that are going on, like Couch to 5K events and things like that, we generally update our content to keep in line with the information that's available nationally. The other thing that you can do with our lifestyle site is undertake an assessment of your well-being. So it looks at 10 aspects of your health and lifestyle, and it's this well-being assessment tab here that the cursor's on at the moment. So if you were to click that, it would take you to a separate page, and you input the code CFL1, and what that allows you to do is undertake a well-being assessment looking at 10 aspects of health and well-being. So it looks at the common things that you might think of come into that. So things like whether you smoke, how much you drink, how much you weigh, but it will also look at things like your stress related to financial matters. It will look at your caffeine consumption, your water consumption, and it will give you a really holistic picture of your overall health and well-being. And from that, you can set yourself goals to improve aspects of your health and lifestyle that the assessment identifies as perhaps not being a strength of yours. So for example, if in the assessment you were saying that you only sleep about 4 hours on average a night, but you were saying that you have on average 6 or 7 caffeinated beverages a day, probably be an indication through the wellbeing assessment that a means of achieving better sleep or more sleep would be to reduce your caffeine consumption. And as an overall effect, that would improve your health and well-being. Please do have a look around our health and wellbeing site, our lifestyle page, over the coming days. There's lots and lots of content on there in the health section, as I say, that is particularly relevant given the related nature that we're all living in at the moment as a result of coronavirus. I'm just going to hold on the line for a moment now just to see if anybody has any questions on the back of the webinar. So there is a questions panel that allows people who are watching the webinar to ask questions. So I will hold on for a second. But as I say, I'm going to send this presentation out to everybody because I'm aware that there were issues this morning with people joining.
Okay, cool. Well, I will call it now and just double check that on the health and safety stuff, and then I'll send it. Yeah, will do. All right, thanks. Bye.
No questions have come through, so I'm going to end the webinar now. But as I say, please do visit the Care First Lifestyle site, and I hope people have found some of the information and tips provided in this webinar useful. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.